still do it, but we'll see. So anyway, this is the team that finished the season 14-3-3. We got to the NCAA tournament in our second year of Division II. We played all the big boys that year. And we had a 7 or 8 game win streak. We outscored our opponents like 60-14 or something like that. But we had to play the University of New Haven in the first round of the NCAA tournament down in New Haven on their postage stamp field. Rainy day. Field was flooded. John McCulley here played with bandages on all over his knee. And yet, we were down 2-0 with about 8 minutes to go. And from there on in, we don't know why we didn't win. The game should have never been played, but this group, and it's one of the first group, not the first group, but many of my teams, with the never say die attitude, fought to the bitter end. And with about 35 seconds left in the game, a great through ball to Mr. John McCulley here, who was injured, was basically on one leg, beat the goalie, pushed the ball, goal. We're already celebrating on the sidelines, tie game. The only problem was in front of that goal, there was a puddle. Instead of going in, the ball stopped dead. We lost the game 2-1. But the game of soccer, you just never know. But this team had the grit, they had the determination. They wanted to show everybody that when we got to the next level, which was Division II, that we could play with the big boys. So going down the line, Mr. Bert Porer, who's on the admissions department, was my assistant coach that year. John McCulley here, his son Jimmy, number 10 on the field today, All-American 3 years in a row, holds all kinds of scoring records at Keene State, played professionally for a while, and now is a head coach at Nauset Regional High School. Mr. Slayton here was the highest scorer in the state of New Hampshire with over 100 goals. When he came to Keene State in a preseason, I said he wasn't good enough to be a striker. You're going to be a right back, and the rest is history. All conference, all this, and he kept the defense together. Mr. Rick Forgeron, whose brother played for me before, came to us and was a great guy off the bench. He's played many different positions, and you always need those special people that can come in and give you a lift. Rick Forgeron. Mikey McCarthy was an outstanding midfield player for me, who was one of those guys that could set up everybody, slotting the ball through. Reminds me of Mr. Hatcher up in the crowd. Okay, Timmy Hatcher, who basically played on one leg for 4 years, but everybody knew where the ball was going. Timmy, raise your hand. There you go, man. Mr. Pangalos, Chris Pangalos here, who put the 1983 team into the Hall of Fame with all his accolades and pushing and pushing and pushing. Well, we finally made it after 3 or 4 years. Pango was a young man who came to me with all kinds of skill and all kinds of headaches. He was one of those guys I picked on incessantly every game. And he played right midfield, right in front of me. But Chris, being Chris, after he had enough of me yelling at him and tell him to get better, would just kind of wave, and he'd go to the other side of the field and tell that winger to come on over. So, yeah, he did, yeah. And right here, Keith Brown, who I've known forever, was our goalkeeper that year. And he made some of the biggest saves you ever want to see. None better than the one in the tournament against New Haven, lower corner on a head ball. Keith owns 7 different records at Keene State as a goalkeeper. So this group of individuals with a never say die attitude, I am so happy to have coached them. I am so happy that they're in the Keene State College Athletic Hall of Fame. So to all of them, congratulations for what you have done for Keene State athletics and what you have done for greater Keene State community. I present to you the 1983 men's soccer team.